Here is what's coming up in today's Frontline compilation. Near Kupiansk, Ukrainian artillery zeroes in on a lineup of Russian launchers and tanks, crippling the enemy's fire support in seconds. See how precision strikes reshape this sector. Helmet Cam captures Ukrainian troops pushing toward a Russian trench as shells burst overhead and drones dive in. What happens once they breach the line is as raw as combat gets. Helmet-mounted camera tracks a solitary Ukrainian rifleman sweeping a trench while Russian soldiers scramble for safety. Distant blasts hint unseen allies are near. Recon drone video tracks cluster munitions raining on a tightly packed Russian formation deep behind the lines, launched by Ukrainian MLRS and shattering the assembly in seconds. This is real footage, no effects, just raw moments from the battlefield. Subscribe to stay updated on every Frontline report and stick around to see it all unfold. Let's get into it. Just south of Siversk, a Russian-operated 2S-1 Gvozdika self-propelled howitzer rumbles along a farm track when an inexpensive Ukrainian Molniya strike drone drops from the overcast sky. The moment the shape-charged warhead detonates on the turret roof, the 122mm rounds stored inside cook off. Sending a fireball through the open hatches, the Gvozdika's steel casemate peels like a tin can, and crewmen can be seen escaping, only to be bracketed by follow-up loitering munitions a minute later. Nearby batteries will now think twice before parking in the open. What else is already watching? Near the broken rail line outside Chaziv Yar, Ukraine's 93rd Mechanized Brigade opens the day with a storm of drone-dropped mortar bombs on Russian troops gathering in a tree line. Hits light up 3 MTLB carriers and spray shrapnel through the brush as machine gun bursts from a supporting BMP-2 press the attack. The summer heat turns the valley into a wavering haze that blinds scopes and hides fresh movements. Officers say the strike wiped out most of a platoon in 6 minutes, yet new shapes already move beyond the ridge. What answer will rise from the smoke? A Kraspartan truck from Ukraine's presidential brigade speeds along a back road outside Sloviansk when a Russian drone slams into the hood, spraying glass across the cab. The soldiers riding in the open cargo bed duck but escape harm. Observers argue whether the attacker was a regular FPV drone or a fiber optic model that can keep control during a steep dive. A second drone detonates behind the vehicle, shaking the truck yet leaving it drivable. The crew presses on, a reminder that chance can decide survival as much as armor does. On a mud-choked farm track near Vuhledar, an abandoned Ukrainian Kozak 2M1 armored car still emblazoned with yesterday's call sign lies door ajar. A Russian FPV drone carrying a hollow charge warhead barely the size of a soda can threads the opening and detonates against the driver's seat. Designers gave the Kozak Stanag Level 2 protection, but that armor means nothing once a 2-inch gap is exposed. Drone operators later boasted that the hit cost them only $220 in parts. Ukrainian logisticians now reinforce every crew briefing with the mantra, latch first, run later. How many other empty vehicles wait with their armor unbuttoned? East of Bakhmut, a lone Russian Buk M1 Telar creeps along a hedgerow when a Ukrainian FPV drone slams into the launcher rail. The impact ruptures one ready 9M38 missile, whose solid fuel motor torch cuts the vehicle before catapulting skyward like a rogue firework. With the tracking radar disabled, 2 additional missiles ignite, sympathetically peppering a nearby wheat field with shrapnel and unexploded propellant. Analysts from Ukraine's 30th Mechanized Brigade say the strike cost less than the price of a single artillery shell. Satellite imagery shows scorched earth, but no replacement Buk yet. Will Russian air defenses now retreat further behind the river? Under the dense canopy of the Serebryansky forest, a Ukrainian fiber-optic drone weaves between birch trunks only a meter apart, guided by a hair-thin cable that ignores jamming. The Spider platform can pull 4 sharp turns each second. Its crosshair locks onto a camouflaged Russian machine gun nest. The drone darts forward, and a 400-gram charge erupts. showering bark and metal shards across a 20-meter arc. Radio traffic later warns platoons to avoid the woods, yet relief columns are already on the move. Will they stumble into the same silent trap? West of Kupiansk, drones from the 45th Artillery Group spot a convoy of BM-27 Uragan launchers parked beside an irrigation ditch. Moments later, precision-guided 155mm M982 Excalibur rounds fired by the Pomster Brigade's M777S crashed among the vehicles. Secondary blasts reveal hits on at least 2 RR-330 Zaj-Jitel electronic warfare vans and a Krastia drone relay tower. Local railway traffic, the lifeline for Russian ammo dumps, halts as flaming debris blocks the spur. The Ukrainian officers claim the loss will delay any push toward the Oskil River by a week, but Russian sapper teams are already working under the cover of night. Can they reopen the route before another salvo arrives? In the broken streets of Pokrovsk, Ukraine's Spartan Brigade drives a BTR-4E armored car past smashed garages while troops sprint from wall to wall. The remote gun on its roof fires quick 30mm bursts and stays on target even in the strong wind locals call the Donetsk broom. Helmet cameras show soldiers tossing RGD-5 grenades into basement hideouts. Heat sites later confirm the rooms are clear. The BTR-4 has new extra armor blocks, and at 112, one block takes a direct hit and holds. Two Spartan fighters are still hurt by falling bricks. Will that slow the push? North of Novosahivka, helmet cam from the 4th Special Purpose Battalion, callsign Fenrir, under the Spartan Brigade, shows a textbook assault on a Russian post. A Vosj-17 grenade arcs through a farmhouse window and bursts. Seconds later, the team storms the doorway rifles on full auto. One fighter shoulders an RPG-76 recoilless launcher to punch open an inner wall. While another lines up a Swedish donated 84 for extra punch. Every room gets a grenade before entry. Deep behind Russian lines, a Ukrainian scout drone films a group of Russian soldiers gathered in a farmyard. An MLRS salvo arrives, the cluster rockets breaking apart in midair. And showering the yard with hundreds of bomblets. Blasts tear through trucks and ammo crates, filling the air with dirt and smoke. Survivors dive for cover and call over the radio, urging their guns to fire back. But will their commanders risk revealing their own launchers and invite another strike? Inside the cratered yard of Ramivka, a lone Russian grenadier sprints toward a toppled T-72 turret for cover. A Ukrainian FPV drone navigation LEDs pulsing red follows at head height before nosing straight for the hatch. The soldier presses flat against ammo racks while dust swirls in the half-light, the drone hovering inches from his helmet. The feed cuts at the last possible frame. Did the antique blast doors save him, or is a fireball already blooming? In the damp clearings north of Kreminna, a group of Russian scouts advances beneath silver-threaded thermal blankets marketed to defeat infrared optics. A FLIR-equipped quad from Ukraine's 63rd Brigade spots glowing rifle barrels poking through the fabric and vectors, an FPV warhead into the center of the cluster. Survivors fling the useless cloaks aside and bolt only to be caught by a second drone seconds later. Did Moscow just issue its infantry a death shroud? Along Trench 41 Delta near Avdiivka, a Ukrainian rifleman intercepts a Russian squad. After a brief exchange of rifle fire, he transmits a coded phrase, calling in mortar rounds that crash behind the fleeing enemy. Helmet cam footage later shows a group of prisoners shivering in a captured dugout, whispering about empty magazines. What might they reveal before dawn?
Мы дебилы. Мы дебилы. Самый настоящий дебил. Прошу пробачення, Україна.
South of Marinka's slag heaps, two Russian motorcycle scouts gun-aging IZH bikes across open steppe. An Azov Brigade spotter drone drops a 3-kilogram mortar bomb that obliterates the rear wheel, forcing the riders to scramble into thin birch cover. A follow-up drone detonates at chest height. A third strike ensures no escape after action. Radio traffic notes dryly, no respite. Will Russian recon schools rewrite their doctrine now? In occupied Crimea, a Russian soldier films while he and nearby troops fire their rifles at incoming Ukrainian drones. The drones aim for what the men call the tanks, likely large fuel stores, and one hit sends a sheet of flame skyward. Ceasefire talks may be in the news, but cross-border drone strikes keep growing as each side tries to look strong. Will Moscow answer this blow or wait? On the edge of Kharkiv, helmet footage from an international special operations team shows soldiers creeping through backyard gardens at first light. Voices in several languages pass short, calm orders over the radios as the group circles a Russian lookout post. Just as they reach the tree line, a warning comes over the net. Fresh thermal spots are closing from the city side. Dawn is brightening fast. Can the operators fade away before the enemy locks on? A Russian grenadier idles outside a shattered greenhouse near Vuhledar, lobs an RGD-5 into a shell hole and sprints away before the grenade even detonates. A Ukrainian Punisher FPV drone slices into frame at 120 km per hour and punches straight into his back. The blast is captured by the drone's rear-facing micro camera, a recent upgrade that provides operators instant BDA. Analysts note the Punisher costs less than the RGD-5. He threw nearby troops dive for cover, checking the sky instead of the crater. How many more instant karma moments are queued above them? Helmet footage from Ukraine's 47th Mechanized bursts into view as a squad crawls the last 30 meters toward a Russian trench outside Pokrovsk. The camera catches whistling 152mm shells, then the flash of an incoming Lancet drone. Fragments pepper the operator, shattering his NVG mount. A comrade drags him behind a corpse-strewn berm and applies an Israeli bandage, while the wounded soldier, and pistol in hand, fires blindly to keep heads down. Tactical overlays reveal the unit was advancing to secure a fiber optic relay cable, later used for drone control. With dusk approaching and ammunition low, can they hold the line until Kasevac arrives? At first light near Svatove, a disabled American-made M-ATV sits on a muddy track with every door hanging open. A Russian scout drone picks out the gap and guides an explosive drone through the driver's side, blows the empty truck apart from within, scattering armor glass across the field. The crew hit a mine earlier and escaped, but forgot to shut the doors. A simple habit that now costs $1 million vehicle. Ukrainian mechanics tape a bright red note on every visor. Close the hatch. Yet more Western trucks sit abandoned along this road. Doors ajar. How many will be saved before the lesson sticks? A dusty road near Robotyne becomes a shooting gallery as Ukrainian drone teams stalk a 3-vehicle Russian column of MT-LBs. Operators drop 1.5 kilogram anti-armor bomblets from just 60 meters, punching through the thin roofs and turning each carrier into burning wreckage. Within 90 seconds, hatches blow open and dark smoke rolls across a sunflower field. The strike leaves twisted metal and scattered gear where the convoy once rolled. Will Russia risk sending more lightly armored transports down this drone-watched route? That wraps today's raw frontline footage. No filters, no fiction. This is M6 Archive, always first on the front lines. Subscribe and share if you want more.